Hello, my name is Jordan. There are two things you need to know about me going into this. Number one is that I fucking love Halloween and all things spooky and tend to centre a good portion of my personality around that. And the other thing is I tend to spend a good portion of my life doing stupid shit to have a story to tell. I've been on a road trip to Loch Ness where I admittedly didn't see the monster, but I saw the loch. I spent entire days queuing outside concert venues to see my favourite bands up close, and I once ate a bath bomb. There's no visual aid for that one. All this considered means that when I saw an article about how there was going to be a world record attempt for the largest group of people dressed as vampires in a single location taking place in Whitby, I immediately jumped on Trainline to figure out how I could be there. I didn't even hesitate, I was just going to be there. So, here is the story about how I attempted to win a world record. Now, to start, it's worth mentioning I don't live particularly near Whitby. It's about 5 hours worth of train rides away from me. I was not going to wear a vampire costume the entire day. I'm still a very socially anxious person and I'm doing this solo. I'll wear the vampire costume when everyone else is. The reason this world record attempt is actually taking place in Whitby in the first place is because part of Bram Stoker's novel Dracula is actually set at Whitby Abbey, and this year marks the 125th anniversary since the book's release, which is pretty cool, and I'm glad English Heritage had a reason to send a shed load of goths to bumfuck nowhere. I tried to read Dracula on the train, but I will be deadly honest, I can't read classics for the life of me, so I listened to Halloween music instead. Still sets the tone. I don't have any footage of this, but when we actually got closer to Whitby, our train had to be extended by 2 carriages because there were too many of us, and we got told, oh yeah, if you're not going all the way to Whitby, you need to sit at the front of the train because the platforms we're stopping at aren't long enough for this entire train. I think this might be the most action that the Yorkshire moors have seen in decades. Stepping off the train platform was kind of surreal because Whitby Abbey is just there, right in front of you. It towers over the whole town. It's kind of sick. I checked into my very budget accommodation with the slowest and smallest kettle you have ever seen, and while I did have footage of me putting on my vampire costume originally while I was there, I managed to lose it, so here it is now. Ooh, snazzy. Look at that £10 cape off Amazon. Good. Great. But my goth pilgrimage was not over yet, dear viewer, because Whitby Abbey, where the attempt is taking place, is at the top of the aptly named 199 steps. Because there are 199 steps. But I made it up there, barely, and I was in, at Whitby Abbey, on this uncharacteristically sunny day, in a vampire costume. Baffling. There were so many people there for this, it was ridiculous. There were Americans had flown over for this, there were Dracula superfans, there was old people, young people, there were dogs! There were dogs in capes and bat wings, it was amazing! English Heritage collected us all into groups for the count. There was someone judging whether our vampire costumes were good enough for the standards they were meeting. The costume requirements were really oddly specific. Like, I'm sure you can find them online. It's so weird. It was just like very, very down to the line. Then when it got to 9 PM, it was time to hear the result.
Ladies and gentlemen, vampires. This has been an official attempt to set a new Guinness World Records title for the largest gathering of people dressed as vampires. We have now reached a final result. The record to beat was set in 2011 in Virginia, USA. Where they achieved 1,039 people dressed as vampires. I can now confirm that here today, at Whitby Abbey, at an event organised by English Heritage, there were a total number of people dressed as vampires equaling 1,360. And it therefore gives me great pleasure to officially recognise a new Guinness World Records title!
And that's it. We won by 330 people, which is much smaller of a margin than I would have thought we had. There were so many people here. Now, jokes aside, this is genuinely one of the coolest things I think I've ever done. It was really cool to see people of all ages just uniting to do something we all collectively understand is ridiculous. Like, we're all just a bunch of dickheads in a field dressed as Dracula nowhere near Halloween. And like, I met a couple there who were just on holiday to Whitby and decided to take part. They didn't know it was going on when they booked, and people travelled out for this. It was just really, really lovely. I am really very happy that I went on this trip. Like, it wasn't easy to get there for me, but I'm happy I made it happen. And through all the trains and travel and very, very budget kettles and accommodation and a really stupidly windy day, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Record. Sorry.